So what's a good flow for a doTERRA Essential Oil 101 class? Let's talk through it and break it down. So to make your class even easier to teach, you're gonna use a guide or a handout. I love using the Natural Solutions Guide. You can actually purchase these or even download and print them out from www.sharesuccess.com. It's an incredible training site with tons of resources. But you can also get so good at this class flow that you can literally do it anywhere without any paper or tools. So don't let not having the tools or resources hinder you. We're gonna walk through each piece of the Natural Solutions class. I've broken it down for you into 15 small parts. Throughout, I'm gonna be pointing out little ways that you can connect in your class. Remember, we're going from a presentation to a conversation and we wanna connect. And I'm gonna make sure you know your transition lines from one part to the next to make it super easy for you. If it's helpful, grab a Sharpie and maybe outline each section on this guide so you can mentally see where the breaks are. I actually recommend using this video series as a training course for yourself. Get a blank Natural Solutions guide, take notes on it as I'm talking. Then maybe pause it after each section that I teach you and practice the transition line, as well as any content from that section that you can remember right off the top of your head. If you do this 2 to 3 times for every section, then unpause it and go to the next, you will get better and better. When I was first learning to do this class, this is exactly how I did it. I recorded someone doing a class, and everywhere I went, driving, doing dishes, even folding laundry, I had my headphones in and I was listening, pausing, and practicing all the way through until I mastered it. So before we dive into the 15 parts of the class, let's talk about what happens before the class begins. This is what I call the pre-class. This is where you're gonna mingle, you're gonna socialize and really get to know your guests for a few minutes. You're gonna have a water bar out where you'll serve water with any of the citrus oils that you have. Briefly tell people what the oils do. Don't go into selling here. Just share a brief 1 or 2 sentence explanation and then let them try them, maybe 1 to 2 drops in their water. Now, when it comes to food, I'd suggest not making an elaborate spread. You may have the gift of hospitality and love hosting parties and cooking, but remember what I said on how to scale your business. It has to stay simple so others see what you're doing and actually believe that they can do it too. If you're Betty Crocker and they can barely get a box of mac and cheese made every night for their kids, having this huge elaborate spread is gonna feel super overwhelming to them. Also consider holding off on the food until the very end of your class. Now, I've done this both ways. I've served food at the beginning of my class since people are getting off work and they may be hungry, but I've also done it where I've held off until the very end, and I personally think this is the best way. Here's why. 1, this gets your class started on time. How many times have we done classes that people have mingled and lingered and eaten food for a long time and your class gets started really late? Secondly, it keeps people there during the sign-up process. How many times have you done a class and people have had to leave at the very end because you took so long at the beginning before actually getting set up with their oils? Have a few fun things that you pull out at the end. It's gonna keep them there longer. So when I'm inviting people to classes, I actually confirm that they're coming maybe a couple hours before the class with a really simple text. Something like, hey, I can't wait to see you tonight. I have a surprise for you. I'm not gonna tell them what it is. And what's my surprise? It's peppermint brownies. So save your peppermint brownie surprise for when they're filling out their applications. And again, it's gonna make people stick around longer and get set up with their oils versus just jetting out the door right away at the very end. Here's a key to connect in the pre-class. Get names prior to the start of your class, and I love to take this a step further and actually ask them why they came or what their connection to the host is. Try your very best to learn their names and why they're there. Repeat it 3 to 5 times in your head. Then another trick that I do, because I've never been great at names, is when everybody sits down, I quickly scan the crowd. I say their names in my head over and over, going around the circle, associating it now with where they're sitting, and it helps me remember them. So this is the end of your pre-class and you're about to kick off your class. So let's get ready to welcome and start part 1.